One, we talked about so much from the quarterbacks already, and we saw it 2 months ago. One thing that I don't think we've actually brought up, though, is something that we spent an inordinate amount of time during the season on, which is sack to pressure ratio, because that was a huge bugaboo for Sam Howell. Some of these quarterbacks have pretty startling stats in that department, in both directions, by the way. I think like Penix has one of the most ridiculous numbers you've ever seen.
It's like some ridiculous.
Like he never gets sacked.
He doesn't move.
Daniels, by the way, sacked a lot when he's under pressure. How do you look at that part of, let's say, those top 4 guys' games?
Yeah, that is another concerning thing too, is that because if you're going to take sacks, you have to be aggressive to overcome it. If I'm a 7-yard loss on first down, like, yeah, those could be drive killers. But it can't literally be a drive killer. It can't be like, oh, shoot, now you're going to dink and dunk 2 5-yard gains.
It's the Joe Burrow thing, right? Like, he's hyper aggressive, taking sacks. He offsets the sacks because he's so aggressive.
You have to. And if you're not going to mitigate sacks, if you're not going to be a sub 4% sack rate guy, you have to create explosives. So that's why with May, because May's is like right at that kind of threshold where it's like concerning, but it's like, okay, you're not too bad. Daniels is concerning because I think when I looked at it, it was basically Will Levis, Fields, and Daniels were sack rate, pressure to sack rate. Like, have you seen Will Levis and Justin Fields in the NFL? It hasn't gone away. Yeah. And again, bigger bodies, good, still both good athletes. And so with Daniels, it's all right. Are you going to push the ball to overcome all those aggressive plays you're going to try to do with your legs? He doesn't really do that. So that you're, one arm tied behind your back if a negative play happens. I think Caleb Williams, actually a guy that as I watched him, I had way less concerns about it because I thought his offensive line was just horrid. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when he was choosing to run or choosing to do all that stuff, and when he got pressured, all the stuff is he was doing everything he could just to make a play happen because that he grew on me too as like going like, oh, okay, your negatives aren't what I thought they were originally going in. But so of the guys, and again, I just seem like a piled out the guy, but Daniels is the one that's most concerning because he's not as aggressive as the other guys.
And so this is, again, I can hear our fans already. He does offset some of that, not with big time throws, but with big time runs.
Yes.
And so I think that's also something that's important for people to remember. He gets to big time plays differently than everybody else in the class.
Everybody has different way to win.
Yes.
And his way to win is that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's I think that's another thing too, is everyone's, you guys have them in the same tier. It's like, yeah, but they're not the same dude. Like they're totally different kind of quarterbacks. Yeah. So like that's how he wins.
The other argument that I have when people ask me about Jayden Daniels, and I'm high on him. I think I told Craig this a couple weeks ago, right? I'm kind of switching to your perspective where it's like these 2 guys, Jayden Daniels and then another tier. But he does win games.
Yeah.
And he's very competitive. And you mentioned that as an advantage for Drake May. I think he did a better job of that this year than Drake May in kind of big moments. What would you say to that?
I thought May brought a lot of guys back. Sure. There's a lot of late games where he's pushing, a lot of ones where he's trying to get to overtime or even win in overtime. The Duke game is a great example. He just kept coming back, even though like North Carolina was just giving up point after point. Saying that though, Daniels is tough as hell.
Yeah.
And I love it. My comparison more than anything else is Johnny Knoxville for Daniels.
That's a great comp.
Yeah, because he's willing to lay it all on the line. Yeah. I love it. All these guys are. I think Caleb Williams has gotten underrated with his toughness. Watch him on the goal line trying to run dudes over and get right back up. So it's like, and McCarthy too. None of these guys I have that negative where I'm like, Penix maybe a little bit, but it's like all the other guys is like, no, I like toughness and competitiveness. I think all of them have it in spades. It's just like, okay, good. That's what you want. I've liked Daniels since Arizona State. Yeah. I liked him.
That's so funny to me because nobody liked Daniels at Arizona State.
I got
you're like, I'm a
for
May guy, but I love Daniels at Arizona State.
I did. And it's like, it's funny because I liked him.
He's not saying he doesn't like Daniels.
No, I know.
I know. For people listening,
yeah.
He likes Daniels. He just doesn't like him as much as May.
Right.
There's other issues.
And when you're taking a guy in the top 5, you got to bring up all the warts. And that's why, and with May, it's like, the warts aren't as big to me or the ones I can kind of go, oh, okay. But I'll gloss over that. But like with Daniels, it's just like, these are a lot of red alerts, red flags that I have seen quarterbacks struggle with recently in just this last 5-ish years in this kind of new meta of defense.
Well, I was going to say, even like just the 2 you mentioned are like huge issues. Big time throws and sack to pressure ratio. Like that'll kill an offense in 5 seconds. And so if those are things he struggles with, historically they don't get better very quickly.
No, they don't. Those are the things that a quarterback handles. Yeah. It's like how in the classic, because Hurts has struggled with this too, and it became a big thing this last year as the kind of offense kind of was, the offensive line was okay. I thought Hurts didn't handle the blitz well. Still hasn't. We saw him against Todd Bowles in the Bucs in the playoffs, and then also he never throws it over the middle. Another guy that struggled to throw over the middle, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Once their athleticism wanes, they age horribly because they can't create the explosive through the middle. They have to rely on talent on the outside or ad-libbing and launching something over the top.
It's a great way to characterize that, because it's really hard, I think, for people to understand that, that size thing is such a big deal. And then when the athlete goes, like, when you watch Jalen Hurts, I think he's a perfect example. He's always not throwing with great anticipation. He's not the most accurate guy, doesn't see the middle of the field well, but it's fine because he can run the ball and he can make the offense go and get first downs. But when that deteriorates to any capacity, you're in
He
trouble.
didn't run this year,
Yeah.
and the whole offense fell.
Yeah.
They had a great run game. He went from I'll get into a Jalen Hurts session here. He went
If
from.
you want to talk about Jalen Hurts' bad year on a Washington Commanders
I actually realized that. I was like, oh yeah, same division. We're good here.
Okay.
We're same. Yeah. Oh man, looking at those stats, it was stark. Going from last year, 2022 to 2023, he went from the most efficient as far as success rate runner of the football from the quarterback position to only one that he was better than was Russell Wilson, who I don't know if you guys have seen him this year. Russ was not really running the ball that well. And that's why the offense felt like that. And I thought he was pressing a lot too, because he was his read stuff. He was like, all right, I'm keeping this one. It's like, you're not supposed to be keeping that one, Jalen. Just hand the ball off. Oh man, I could go into. I wrote about that one too. Look at that one on Yahoo. That caused a lot of spark in Philadelphia. We just paid this guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that becomes the long-term question too when you talk about how they age, and like if you're going to spend this top 5 pick on a quarterback, like that matters because you're not drafting
you're not drafting for one rookie contract. It's for the whole thing.
Right. If you draft a running back and it's like, okay, 4 years, let's see can we abuse them for 4 years and then let them go. For a quarterback, it's like no, especially if you're picking this high, right? Like that's the thing is we talked about some of the trade up, trade back, all these different things this week, all the different scenarios. And at the end of the day, like we're one of the cleanest arguments I think that people have made against trading is like, how often are you here? How often are you here where there's multiple legitimate top options? Just take the quarterback. And if that's your philosophy, you're doing it so that this is the guy for a decade.
Right. That's for me as just a neutral observer and how I've graded these guys. I feel like it's like Washington's just set in the perfect spot to just take the other guy. If the Bears go Caleb or if they go Drake May, like just stand pat and take the other guy. To me, and that's my neutral observation of that. I feel like isn't that what you want? Like, first off, you get the pressure off of you. Oh, we took the wrong guy, like that. If one of these guys happens to fail,
then again, now I'm having 99 draft flashbacks. Like, just take the other guy. The other guy wound up being Ryan Leaf. So whoopsie daisies.
That's a great point.
Also want to say this though, like,
but to your point, the pressure's off.
This is an argument that I think is very valid. Is we suck at quarterback evaluations, just generally hitting, right? Because it's
impossible.
It's an ecosystem, right, around the quarterback. But I think one of the things that I was thinking about, if you trade back and get 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks in the following draft, like, are you offsetting some of that risk of maybe not trusting your evaluation or maybe not being 100% accurate?
I think everything is built to get a dude at quarterback. Like every philosophy, every team building thing, that should be the goal. And so to me, you're in a position to get to that goal. So I don't overthink. I understand what you're saying.
I guess is your confidence, this is the thing that I always come back to, is your confidence level so high that JJ McCarthy's not going to be the dude? Because when you look at like Patrick Mahomes goes at 10, right? Josh Allen's the third quarterback, second, right? Like it's not picking higher doesn't mean assuring you success, right? And so giving you an opportunity to get more people, build a roster, build the ecosystem, build playmakers around this guy. So this is the conundrum I get into with that. I get what you mean, Mike. Hey, let's build up the rest of it, and then maybe we can figure out the quarterback stuff. But I think it's like the thing that for me, it's like I like JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
I like Jaden Daniels, and is Jaden Daniels plus 3 blue chippers the next couple drafts?
But then you're threading that needle of nailing all those guys. Yeah. Like say
100%.
Yeah.
But it's then again, like if you hit half of
this is all team building philosophy. No, because I go back and forth on this all the time too.
I do too.
So
there's no right answer.
No, there isn't. It's
17 times this week on this.
Oh, I know. It's so funny which every year as I do this, which team shows I go on. But the Bears are 2 years in a row, but but like all these other shows, it's just so funny. It's like everyone comes into these same kind of concerns. I remember doing like a Seahawks or a Lions show last year, and they're like, should we take a guy to like build around this? And I was like, oh, you get into all this. So is Richardson that guy? And it was like, it turns out actually those teams did like Richardson, just the Colts swooped him up. But I remember just saying that, and they're like, oh, I don't know. I go back and forth. It's just really funny to talk to everyone's. You go through all of it.
Well, I think the other thing too is, so right before we taped this, I had my guy Q from Raider Nation Radio come over, and they are definitely in Vegas interested in trading up. And so I played Peters, he played Telesco, and he offers me like 3 first rounders. And if that offer's sitting there, like,
It's hard.
you're like, yes, I want that. So it's very different.
I also, and that's the thing is we don't know how teams see these guys. Maybe the interview goes sour.
Right.
And you just don't know.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I only can read between the lines. I watch some
But for
stuff.
you, you're taking Maya too. Yeah, if he's there.
If he's there, oh, absolutely. I sprint up to it, and also there's some of this too. It's like, all right, this team's obviously offering 3 firsts. Is there okay? Man, I gotta make sure. Like, is this guy
Right.
like, like, there's a reason other people are like this. Like, you gotta have some consensus. Also, you want to always be on your own wavelength. You gotta listen to some of the consensus.
You got
on
to
some
make
stuff.
sure that you disagree with how much they like the guy.
Right. It's like, actually, I kind of like him. All right, hold on. Let me check. Let me double check all this. Yeah, no. But I mean, this is great for me because I don't get fired off of it. It's like May sucks. It's great. This is why I got in the media. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But I know, but that's the decision because, like, this is a new regime. This is it. Like,
Yeah.
this is you don't really get a second chance at this. So it's like, that's why it's so tough.
I got a real quick question. The
Yeah.
guy we haven't talked about, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I feel like he kind of fits in a category that you would like and appreciate. How do you feel about him?
Another guy grew on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guy going, want to talk about, I like Daniels at Arizona State. It's like Nick's at Auburn. Oh, no. I was like, if you talk to drafted, drafted on maybe day 2, and some guys actually like him even more. Nick's has stayed middle of the field, concerns me.
Yeah.
Good athlete, good size and everything. I thought Oregon did a great job of going like, hey, you're good at this. We're just going to do this a million times. Yeah.
I can't get past that.
I can't either.
Because it's like, this is built for you. This is exactly what you want to do. And can you do anything else? I don't know.
And I saw some people going like, oh, Oregon against Oregon State's one of the best quarterback games I've seen. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go back and watch that one. What did you just see, Mr. Warner? And I watched it. It was one backside dig he hit, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's, of course, Kurt Warner's going to love a backside dig.
Loves the
backside dig. So, but I have some reservations with Nick's
Yeah.
age thing too. It's like, this is what you're at. And they had to limit the offense. They had to put training wheels on you, even though you're a 5-year starter, basically.
You started 61 college games?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And yet,
How many college games you play in?
Not that many. I'll tell you.
60. Oh my God.
It's probably like maybe 40. I don't know.
I think I played 60 snaps. It's college. I was behind Russ, so I get some of that. But no, Nick's I have some concerns with, and same with Penix. I have concerns with Spencer Rattler. From South Carolina. He's growing on me because he can spin it, but his stuff's more off field.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it flashes like it just pops off tape. But again, he's not big either, and also he's had stuff off field stuff, so that's a whole other thing to turn over.